Well, I do it for the school and the children.
A helping hand, faithful volunteer at an Albuquerque elementary school gets some special recognition. What staff and students are doing to show their appreciation.
And deplorable and soon to be demolished. Residents call an old frat house an eyesore. Soon it will be out of sight. We dig deeper this morning.
Plus, police investigating after 2 deadly crashes involving pedestrians in the metro. What we know this morning.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Krqe News 13 this morning. I'm Krqe Gutierrez.
I'm Adam Atchison. Nice to have you with us. Tuesday, November 15th. Let's get right to that forecast.
Oh, chilly start, but you may not need that jacket later on. Kristen Curry's in with that. Good morning.
Good morning, guys. Yeah, we continue to be spoiled with these afternoon highs that we're looking at today, even warmer than yesterday. So we'll first start with the chilly morning temps down to 42 here in the metro. Wind's not an issue, and they really won't be today. They'll stay between 5 to 15 as we get towards the later part of our afternoon. But our temperatures still struggling to get out of the teens. In Alamosa, 24, and Gallup, good morning, Silver City, 44. As you guys are starting your Tuesday, you'll find a mix of the 30s and 40s out over the eastern plains as well. 3-day forecast, talking 70s here in the metro today. That is a good 15 degrees above average for this time of year. We're going to continue with the warm temperatures again tomorrow, but by Thursday, that's where the big changes hit. Talking windy conditions across the entire state. We've got much cooler temperatures and even our overnight lows falling significantly. So a lot to talk about with this next strong cold front moving in. I'm going to break down the timing as well as what you can expect out of this front. That's coming up in just about 10 minutes.
In the meantime, we're expecting to learn from Albuquerque police later today some more information on the death of a pedestrian hit and killed outside the pit. It happened last night during a Lobo game at the intersection of Avenida Cesar Chavez and University. We spotted some Lobo gear on the road and a car stopped, which looks to be part of the investigation. Police say they took the victim to the hospital where they died from their injuries. No word on who that person is. As soon as new information comes into our newsroom, though, we'll pass it to you on air and on the KRQE News app.
And a second deadly crash involving a pedestrian happened around 5 o'clock last night at 12th Street and I-40. Police say the person also died at the hospital after suffering injuries from the hit. Traffic, as you can see from the video here, it was backed up for a while during the investigation. Police have not said if anyone will face charges for either incident at this time.
President-elect Donald Trump meets with Vice President-elect Mike Pence at the Trump Tower in New York today as he continues to build his administration. A campaign source now tells CBS News that Rudy Giuliani is favored to serve as Secretary of State. The president-elect has nearly 4,000 jobs to fill in his administration before he takes the oath of office on January 20th. And almost a week after the president-elect won the election, and students continue to walk out of high schools and college classrooms by the thousands. This video now making its way around the nation of major walkouts yesterday in California, Colorado, Maryland, Washington, among other states. Many declared concerns over the president-elect's comments about minorities. Some say what's fueled the fire is knowing that Hillary Clinton won the popular vote, meaning more people voted for her, while Trump won the Electoral College.
And this morning, at least one New Mexico senator is pushing to get rid of the Electoral College.
I don't think anybody can name a race or an election where if you come in second, you're the winner.
That's Senator Mimi Stewart. She says it's time for change in how we elect presidents. What happened this election, though, is not a first. The very same thing happened back in 2000 between Al Gore and elected President George W. Bush. Senator Stewart is backing an interstate deal to switch to the popular vote. So far, 10 states and Washington, D.C. have signed on, although the deal does not kick in until states representing at least 270 electoral votes sign on. Now, there is already some local opposition saying candidates would just stick to the nation's largest states if the popular vote decided the presidency.
I don't want to live in a country or a state where I'm always looking in New York and California for everything.
If the legislature okays signing on to the deal, Governor Susana Martinez would have to approve it.
Ruined, damaged, and dilapidated. Happening today, an abandoned frat house the city once described using those words will be demolished. News 13's Sarah Yingling is live at UNM with more details for us. Sarah?
Good morning, Adam. Yeah, this is the house on Sigma Chi Road, right by University and Lomas. And like you said, in just hours, heavy equipment will be tearing down this house that has been posted as substandard for over a year. Now, this used to be the home of Nmba Chi Alpha fraternity. It's been abandoned for close to 10 years. The fraternity lost its right to be on campus back in 2005 after rape allegations. It's also been the victim of several fires over the years. But it wasn't until recently that the building went before City Council for condemnation.
Those that are vacant for a period of 12 or more months without any remodeling, rehabilitation, repair work, they can become eligible for consideration for condemnation and ultimately demolition.
The mayor even got involved, calling the building dangerous and saying that if the owner didn't tear it down, the city would have to spend $85,000. And the owners did say they would take care of demolition, which means that the city and taxpayers won't have to pay for the demolition process. Back to you.
All right, Sarah, thanks so much. Of the 11 Greek houses on campus, 5 of them are abandoned, including the one Sarah mentioned.
An Albuquerque man will go to his neighborhood elementary school this morning, just like every other day, volunteering his free time, helping out, making sure the school grounds look great.
Instead of staying at home, and I had lots of time, I was going to volunteer here at Mark Twain.
That's Arthur Armijo. He's been stopping by Mark Twain Elementary every school day, all day, for the last 3 years.
A lot of times when you retire, you want to stay home and not contribute and stay active. That's what I choose to do.
And it's because of him the campus stays in such good condition. It's a good deed that does not go unnoticed. Staff and students will show Armijo their appreciation a few times a year by buying him lunch or making him the guest of honor during special celebrations.
Good for him. That's a big job, staying active. All right, looking for some peace and quiet this morning? A Wyoming bookstore came up with the idea to ban cell phones and laptops, urging customers to live like it's 1993.
We want people to be able to come into this store, relax, enjoy a book.
And that ban is in effect at Wind City Books in Casper to get customers to read. Nope, no Wi-Fi, says a sign in the window. The sign also asks customers to leave their cell phones and laptops in their bags as they enter a place for books. The owner says that her customers fully support the ban, saying the bookstore is an oasis of peace and quiet, the way a bookstore should be, right?
Yeah, I really like this idea. I think too often we are consumed by technology. And
sure.
It's time to put those cell phones down, at least for a few minutes.
Hopefully
right?
it'll catch on.
Yeah. Okay, mid-November, Kristen is talking about record highs for this time of year. So what's going on? She's in next to explain.
Plus, giving a helping hand, local fire departments making big donations. Who's benefiting? Right after the break.
Sign up for text alerts on krqe.com. You're watching KRQE News 13 this morning with Crystal Gutierrez, Adam Atchison, and weather with Kristen Krqe. Reporting you can trust.
A fire station in Louisiana will soon get some much-needed help thanks to some local firefighters. AFD donated a fire truck. The Bernalillo County Fire Department pitched in with some used bunker gear. The major donation will help the Livingston Parish Fire Department, which was hit hard by recent floodings in Louisiana. The Livingston Fire Chief says this will free up some much-needed resources in his small rural community.
You look at a truck of this caliber, I would say in the neighborhood of $100,000. So with this donation, we can use that $100,000 towards maybe bringing up our fleet, you know, another truck.
The chief says there were just 8 trucks in his fleet. 3 were lost during the recent disaster.
Wow, that's great how both local fire departments really reached out to them to offer them a lot of help.
Absolutely.
They could certainly use that too. It's cool to hear the accent, you know, that Louisiana accent. They're not that far away, but man, that changing, that is tough. All right, let's get started with a look at your forecast, guys. Doppler radar's quiet. We don't need to worry about that. Temperatures this morning, a little cool. I'd grab the jacket for sure, 42 degrees. Winds not an issue this morning. They won't be today, so no need to worry about that either. But our temperature is certainly cold enough to need a jacket, I would say, for the majority of the state, including southern Colorado, especially up in southern Colorado, as we're in the teens and 20s. But it's a mixed bag of the 30s and 40s as we get into the later half of our state, and even 50 in Ruidoso. A little bit of an oddball there. You are warmer by a good 5 degrees compared to yesterday, and the warmest of the state at that. But we're down by 2 in Albuquerque, down by 1 in both Santa Fe and Grants. Despite a little bit of a cooler start, we're going to certainly make up for that this afternoon. Warmer than what we had yesterday as we top out in the low 70s. We're going to be near records today for not only us here in the metro, for a large chunk of New Mexico, but our current record out of the Sunport stands at 73. Last set back in 1903. So that is a long-standing record that we're going to be close to today. We've got widespread 70s over the eastern half of the state, even some 80s trying to get in there near the eastern state line. 60s up across northern mountains in the Northwest Plateau, 70s over the Boot Heel. So everybody should get outside and enjoy what we have today, because that high pressure is blocking out the rain and it's giving us some really nice temperatures for this time of year. We're still going to be warm tomorrow, but that high pressure starts to slide east. We're going to see the winds pick up just a little bit, and then by Thursday, the bottom falls out on the numbers, but we're also going to be looking at some extremely windy conditions. So let's break down what you can expect out of this strong Pacific front, because by late tomorrow and into Thursday and Friday, we're going to see some major impacts here in New Mexico. The bulk of the snow is going to stay up in Colorado. Really, this looks to be a pretty big winter storm for the northern plains and the upper Midwest. But as far as the snow goes, there's not going to be a whole lot to pick up here in New Mexico, because we're on the southern side of this system. So it's going to be a lot more wind than anything. And these winds are going to be strong. We're talking wind gusts up to about 60 miles per hour. Those of you in and around the mountain areas, too, you're going to get knocked around quite a bit Thursday afternoon. Behind that cold front moving in Thursday, we're going to see much colder temperatures, likely the coldest air of the season thus far, as we knock a good 20 to 30 degrees off those afternoon highs. So although we love to see those 70s this time of year in New Mexico, it's going to make Friday seem even colder, just because it's a huge contrast here. I mean, a 30-degree difference in 5 days is going to be certainly noticeable. Southern Colorado, you'll be in the 60s today with the mix of sun and clouds overhead. Expect increasing cloud cover tomorrow, increasing wind Thursday, and colder temperatures to finish the week. As we take you across the Northwest, we have 60s and 70s over the plateau. Overnight lows back down to the 20s and 30s. More cloud cover, but warm temperatures continue tomorrow. Southwest, 60s and 70s. Not too bad for this time of year. Those overnight lows a little bit above freezing, not by much though out there in Deming. Warm temperatures again tomorrow, but our temperatures start to fall both in the afternoon and overnight Thursday, Friday. Southeastern plains, no rain in that 7-day, but from the 70s today, we'll stick with the warm temperatures again tomorrow. By Friday, you're going to feel that cool down as you lose a good 20 degrees off those afternoon highs. Northeastern plains, 74 in Roy, Las Vegas at 74 as well, but 80s out there in Tucumcari, likely to set the record today with those low 80s coming in. Northern mountains, 60s over the high country with overnight lows back down to the 20s and 30s. We will watch for that slight chance of snow on Thursday, but it's more so going to be the winds and the cold temperatures we'll have to worry about. East mountains, 60s across the board, overnight lows in the 30s and 40s. More 60s on the way for tomorrow. We'll finish the week in the 40s. In the metro, looking at high temperatures in the 60s and 70s today, with a good amount of sunshine overhead. But again, enjoy it while we have it, because come tomorrow, we'll start to notice the winds late, a lot more wind by Thursday, and colder temperatures to finish the week and head into the weekend. Not to mention our first freeze likely Friday morning. So 2 more days to make sure your home and vehicles are winterized. Let me know if you have questions.
Low 50s. We haven't experienced something like that in a long while.
That's what we're waking up to. So the fact that those are going to be our warmer temperatures, yeah, you're right. It's going to be something you're like, whoa, and the wind on top of that, it's going to be rough. Yeah, get ready.
Thanks, Kristen.
Okay, you can learn a lot about someone by checking out their cell phone, right? But we're not talking about what you've recently texted, tweeted, or maybe looked up. What researchers are looking for, we'll tell you.
Also, the Bill 1 state rep is planning to reintroduce after a young girl's killed in a crash allegedly involving street racing. Time now for the morning rush.
We start with Krqe.
Good morning. We'll begin with the next big weather maker. Doesn't arrive until the next 24 to 48 hours. So we have a full day of sunshine today and near record heat, unseasonably warm for this time of year. By tomorrow, you'll start to notice a little bit more cloud cover and a little bit more wind. Adam?
As you get ready to head out the door, we're following the day's top local stories. Let's start with Catherine Mazzeau.
Adam, prosecutors are likely combing through new evidence today in the case of an accused cop killer. Devon Lyman is charged in the murder of APD officer Daniel Webster. He recently faced federal charges for being a felon in possession. Lyman could see 10 years in prison for that. Now that it's over and Lyman is charged for murder, previously sealed video is now public. It includes the lapel cam video of Webster's last moments alive, as well as Walgreens surveillance video and a conversation between Lyman and police in which Lyman apologizes about Webster. Crystal?
On to news happening right now. President Barack Obama is in Greece, the first stop of his final overseas trip as Commander-in-Chief. Air Force One touched down just a few hours ago. At the top of the agenda, reassuring European allies that President-elect Donald Trump is committed to NATO and the Transatlantic Alliance. The president will also travel to Germany and Peru during the 6-day tour.
New this morning, 27-year-old Brendan Dassey could soon be walking out of a federal prison. Dassey was sentenced to life in prison for the 2005 murder of Teresa Halbach, a case made famous by the Netflix series Making a Murderer. Dassey was 16 when he confessed to helping his uncle, Stephen Avery, rape and murder the 25-year-old. In August, a judge ruled police unfairly questioned and coerced Dassey to confess.
This morning, defense attorneys for the former Santa Fe County Sheriff's deputy charged with murder will have more time to pull their case together. This after Ty Chan's retrial is now delayed to May 8th. Investigators say Chan shot and killed fellow deputy Jeremy Martin in October of 2014. It happened in Las Cruces. Chan claims it was self-defense. Chan's first trial ended with a hung jury.
Tributes are pouring in this morning for veteran journalist Gwen Ifill, who died after battling cancer. Ifill co-hosted PBS NewsHour since 2013 with Judy Woodruff. They were the first women to co-anchor a nightly news broadcast. Ifill also moderated the vice presidential debates in 2004 and 2008, along with one of the Democratic primary debates this year. She was 61 years old.
State Senator Michael Sanchez may soon be taking on the group behind attack ads against him to court. The ads were the work of the Republican Political Committee, Advance New Mexico Now. Sanchez claims the ads were false allegations he traveled to Hawaii on taxpayers' money and that he was, quote, dismissive to the widow of a Rio Rancho fallen police officer. Sanchez says he hopes the lawsuit will stop liars from influencing elections. Sarah?
In just hours, a UNM fraternity house will be demolished. This was once the home of the Lambda Chi Alpha fraternity, and it's been abandoned for close to 10 years. The fraternity lost its right to be on campus back in 2005 after rape allegations. It's also been the victim of several fires over the years. The owner and code enforcement division will handle the demolition process. Adam?
This morning, crews are battling 15 major wildfires raging across western North Carolina. Already thousands of acres are charred. Firefighters are now working around the clock on the front lines of the Party Rock fire. It's only 15% contained this morning. The governor confirms more than 1,700 structures have been threatened, and fire crews are using streams and roadways to try to contain those flames.
Today's Metro Threat Index at a 0. We've got nothing to worry about. Really, today looks a little bit more like a September day with those temperatures out there. But we're talking sunshine and light winds, high temps in the low 70s here in the Metro. But do expect this Metro Threat Index to climb as we get into the next couple of days. Crystal?
Thanks, Kristen. This morning, some students now have a new home energy saving kit, all thanks to PNM. It's part of the power company's plan to help kids get an early start on energy saving habits. Yesterday, the kits were handed out at elementary schools around the state. The students' new kits include high-efficiency light bulbs and a low-flow shower head.
Teens could soon have more access to gyms at community centers across Albuquerque. That's if a city councilor gets his way. Brad Winter is sponsoring a bill aimed at 16 and 17-year-olds, and right now their access is only available to those 18 and older. Winter cites the CDC, saying only 29% of high school students do have an hour of physical activity per day. Under this proposal, teens would have to be supervised by a parent or a guardian.
A Frida Kahlo painting, never before shown in public, will soon be up for sale. For years, the whereabouts of the picture had been a mystery. After her death, the painting was given to an aide who helped Kahlo in the studio. The artwork is valued between $1.5 million to $2 million. The piece of art is scheduled to be auctioned next week at Sotheby's auction house. That's in New York City.
One accident to talk about when it comes to the morning drive. This might slow you down. An accident on the I-40 eastbound at the Carlisle Boulevard off-ramp. No word that that's actually causing any tie-ups at this point, but if it does, that's something you might might want to avoid. The rest of the metro looks really good this morning.
Okay, here's something interesting and possibly disturbing. You can tell a lot about a person from the chemicals found on their cell phones. Researchers in California discovered they could piece together clues about diet, hygiene, medications, even caffeine and sunscreen use via molecules swabbed and analyzed from a person's phone.
Weird.
That is weird. A little disturbing.
Ultra disturbing. Eely.
Okay.
Okay, on to the school story.
Yeah, Michigan cashier rising quickly. Listen to him there. He sounds really good thanks to a viral video of him singing to Maxwell's hit song Ascension. Video even got the artist's attention, and now Maxwell has requested his cashier's talents for an upcoming show in Detroit.
He's so good.
The crooning cashier.
That's awesome. All right, time now for the 5 facts.
And we start with number 5. An Albuquerque woman is celebrating a big win on the game show Wheel of Fortune. Michelle Marquez appeared on last night's episode. She watched with family and friends who didn't know the outcome yet. She was sworn to secrecy. Michelle walked away with $11,000 and a trip to Florida.
Big prize. Number 4, New Mexico senators hoping to gain some support for a push to get rid of the Electoral College. Senator Mimi Stewart says it's time for change after Hillary Clinton won the popular vote, but President-elect Donald Trump won the Electoral College. Stewart is backing an interstate deal to switch to the popular vote. Some lawmakers, though, say candidates would just stick to the nation's largest cities if the popular vote decided the presidency.
Definitely weather to get outdoors to today. We're talking high temps in the 70s, near record temps for a large chunk of New Mexico with nothing but sunshine on top.
Number 2, a New Mexico lawmaker preparing to reintroduce a bill that gives reckless drivers who kill people harsher punishments. The driver accused in a drag racing crash in Albuquerque that killed a 10-year-old girl over the weekend only faces 6 years behind bars if convicted. State Rep Sarah Maestas Barnes says she wanted a law that ups the sentence for drunk drivers to also cover reckless driving. She says the Senate decided to only focus on DWI.
And number 1 this morning, the special prosecutor handling the murder case against former Albuquerque officers Keith Sandy and Dominique Perez says there's new evidence. Randy McGinn tells News 13 that involves Sandy's police body camera. Both Sandy and Perez are still facing second-degree murder charges in the death of James Boyd. This comes after Sandy's attorney says McGinn offered Sandy a plea deal, which he rejected. A judge has set a potential new trial date of next July in case incoming DA Raul Torres decides to retry those officers.
We have a lot more coming up on Fox New Mexico. We'll see you on the other side in just a few minutes.